Today we're taking a look at the work of Carl Oscar Borg and how he used dark patterns to set up a strong composition. Today we're taking a look at Carl Oscar Borg. He's an artist from California, born in 1879 and died in 1947, and he's from Sweden. But he moved to London when he was 15, worked with an artist there, and then sailed to the United States when he was 21 and just happened to meet William Wendt and started painting landscapes. And he was sponsored, fortunately for him, by the Hearst family. The Hearsts were the big newspaper magnates there in California. Had a lot to do with the arts in those days. But they sponsored him, and he traveled to Europe and studied for a while. I don't know if they continued to sponsor him afterwards. But he came back to the United States and started traveling in the Southwest, especially New Mexico and Arizona. Did a lot of Western landscapes and painted a lot with the Indians, the Indian pueblos and the Indian reservations. And what I like about his work, we'll go back to this one, he also worked as an art director for the silent movies there in Los Angeles in the early days of the movie industry. So it's where he gets some of his composition ideas. Even this looks like a movie scene here. But what I want to talk about in his work specifically is his use of shadow pattern or dark pattern to set up his composition. You can see it here vaguely, the shadows in the clouds, shadows on the mountains and across the background and in the foreground. All that is set up and purposefully designed to create a better composition, because that's where the composition comes out of, is how we set up the pattern of dark shapes. And the more you can have those dark shapes hold together, in other words, we look at this, and if we start at the bottom of the painting, we can follow the dark of the bushes into the dark of the rocks in the middle ground, and it's all somewhat connected as it travels around the background, then back down to the foreground and the figures and out in front again. So that designed or deliberate shadow pattern is what makes or breaks your composition. If you're outside painting or painting from references, you're using what you see, but then you're just seeing that as a place to start. We want to design that shadow pattern or dark pattern to make a better composition. So as we go through his work, you'll kind of see how the darks are very strong, even on a cloudy day. This doesn't have to be just sunlit days where you have real strong cast shadows. But even on a cloudy day, there's a pattern of dark that you use to set up your design. And here the dark underneath the arches, and the real dark inside the building and in the foreground. Even along the figures here and traveling up the pole, there's a dark that doesn't always literally connect, but the eye can make the jump so that it creates one big pattern. Here's, it's going to say more of a cloudy day, but maybe not. Looks like a study in Europe. I don't know many castles in the Southwest, but still you have the dark foreground connecting a little bit with the darks here on the left side of the trees. You can see it more on a sunny day, but you have to still think about and design the darks on a cloudy day also. Here the foreground, trees, all dark, connecting to the darks in the background. And the darks are generally more simplified in our painting. The detail and the color variation is more in the lights. Now you can have the lighter the shadow, the more you can see into it and see more color variation and detail to some degree. But for the most part, like in this painting, all the shadows are pretty simple. One color, one value. The variation and detail is in the lights. Because if you get too much detail in the shadows and in the light, everything just falls apart. Your darks don't hold together anymore. But the more simple, you can see the darks in these middle ground trees, the more simple they are, Again, one value, one color, the more they're going to hold together and allow the lights to really stand out. And he does that real well in these California paintings. Squint a little bit and see the pattern of dark a lot better. And the dark pattern isn't always shadow. Sometimes you have darks like this tree here on the right. The light area is fairly dark, so that's just part of the dark pattern. Another California coastal painting. In the dark water, the dark mountains, and the darks here in the foreground kind of hold together. Now here the darks are broken up a little bit more into some lighter darks and darker darks. But you have big areas of really simple shape and pattern, mostly in the shadow, to hold things together. Here the upright forms are the darks, the trees, the cliffs, the mountains. There are the darks, the lights are more the flat areas. But use those darks to create patterns and design your composition. Here the darks stand out really well in the foreground and the background. So separating those darks and lights and seeing the shadows more of a pattern. I think the lights become a pattern also, but they become a pattern as a result of designing and shaping the dark pattern first. The shadows that kind of set up the shape. Without shadows, we don't have any shape. Everything's just light. It's a nice one here, somewhere New Mexico. It looks like the pattern of dark in the background and breaks up a little bit in the middle ground and picks up again in the foreground. Here the dark pattern is just the upright horses and figures. Some lighter areas like the white horse and the white shirt, but they're still part of the dark pattern, part of the shadow. Then everything else is a lot lighter. Now here's one of these drawings. I found several drawings. This was the only one that was big enough to really show. Pencil drawing, and you can see that pattern is using dark and light pattern here in the darks to set off the sunlit figures on the horse. Without that contrast, there is no composition or focal point, but a definite pattern of shadow starting in the foreground, leading to this big shadow in the middle ground, and then picking up shadow shapes that kind of wind around in the background. And those are carefully designed. I don't think overly designed. You can't over design and it doesn't look as natural, but this looks pretty natural to me. But you still have to think in terms of what am I going to do with those dark shapes. So using drawing and also gouache, I'm assuming this is gouache, could be casein. I've used gouache, have not used casein, so I'm assuming this is gouache. Again, one of the pueblos in New Mexico, on top of those mesas there, and you can see the shadow pattern in the rocks and how that kind of leads and pulls your eye throughout the composition. Also did a lot of watercolor as well, separating those dark and light patterns. So another gouache. I'm assuming the gouaches were studies for oils. I don't know if he did these outside or inside. You can see how simplified the shadows are, starting on the rocks on the right. Then the upright figures are mostly in shadow. Easier to design something like a figure when you have it just a dark silhouette against a lighter background. Then you can go into that figure once you have the silhouette the right shape to kind of break it up with a little more value changes and some detail. It's a nice one here. You can see the shadow pattern, very definite. Now there's some lighter shadows within that pattern, but the lights and darks separate and the darks create that design that makes the composition work so well. I mean, we get caught up and interested in the color variation, maybe the brushwork, handling of details, or simplifying details, but it all starts with finding that shadow pattern, and he does that really well. This looks like another little study or small painting where if we turn this to a black and white, we can see that shadow pattern a lot easier. I'm going to desaturate it. And you can see that definite pattern. Now, some of the shadows are a little lighter, so they don't hold together the shadow as well, but you can still see that definite dark against the light. And that helps us, I think, to think more abstractly as well. It's another gouache, and I'm assuming it's a study for this painting, which is the oil. Going back to the gouache, you can see the dark pattern is pretty much the figures against a lighter background. Again, there's some light areas within the dark, but that dark pattern still holds together. And finding that really helps set up your composition and how you're going to paint your subject. Otherwise, you're just painting sections of a painting separate from each other. But he groups these figures all together into a large pattern of dark before he breaks it up with the lighter shapes within the dark. It's kind of a busy gouache painting. Still, the shadows hold together, even though there's a lot of little broken value changes. Darks and lights hold together really nicely. It's an interesting study. You can see where he's just chopping in subtle value and color changes in these cliffs and hills in the background. Very nice composition. You would think the lines here in the foreground in the wash just lead you right off the canvas, but he does break it a little bit with this bush here on the right side and picking up the shadow here. You can wind around. And again, finding dark pattern to lead you back into the background. It's a nice view of maybe how he starts a painting. Very thin pattern of dark. Darks here are pretty transparent, building up the lights a little thicker. Very high key, but not much going on in the shadows. Very simple. A lot of the shadows are real light because he made everything a very high key, or made the darks lighter as well as the lights lighter. So there's still contrast, but both the darks and lights are a lot lighter, as opposed to making the darks and the lights darker. Then you get more color variation in the lights. But it's kind of a look into setting up the painting, the drawing, and the values, and keying the painting to what values you want. Another one here, not a very big file, kind of falls apart when you blow it up, but you can see the shadow pattern really stands out. Again, a high key value range. All the shadows are lighter, which makes the lights lighter as well. So not as much color in the lights. So a few of my paintings where I'm trying to, again, see shadow pattern. The shadow pattern here, I've simplified it more from the reference I used so that it holds together better and creates a more solid design, the shadow pattern. Then the lights stand out a lot better. Same thing here. There's a lot going on, but the shadow pattern's very definite. There's a definite pattern on the flat plane, the grass in here, as well as the background has a definite shadow shapes. Now it's broken up a lot because of the branches of the tree, but I start with that shadow pattern that keeps it hopefully very, very simple. Now this is a painting of the Tumacacre Mountains in Tubac, Arizona. Did this outside, but again, starting with that shadow pattern, the cloud pattern on the mountains, the upright darks on these cliffs and the trees. They all go together to show and strengthen the design. Now here's what I saw first. This was the shapes that I wanted in the mountains and the foreground to set it up. So it's not about rendering right away to make something look like a mountain. It's more about abstracting your subject so that you can see things in simple darks and lights. Same thing here, the shadows, really trying to keep them more separate from the lights. So the lightest lights within the shadow, or the lightest shadow within the shadow, are still going to be darker than anything in the light area, or should be anyway. Same thing here. This is in New York. The upright buildings, the upright trees, the shadow on the street and sidewalks all kind of hold together into a big pattern and allows me to do more color variation in the sky and in the lights on the trees. Another painting from New York. Very busy, especially in here, just small little choppy darks and lights. But I started out seeing it like this, actually even getting rid of some of these small lights, just a bigger, simpler dark pattern against a simple light pattern makes it easier to add the details that are there and to simplify. But seeing it abstractly first like this really helps. And lastly, same thing here. It's mostly shadow with lights, but designing that shadow pattern first. The dark trunks, the dark background, the trees, and then the shadow in the foreground. Using those to create a pattern that's somewhat connected and kind of flows through the whole composition without breaking it up into too many little dark details. The bigger and more simple you can keep the shadow, the better. Then go back into the shadow and add some subtle value changes. But it's that dark that holds things together and keeps us from getting too detailed and sets up the design.